Only one thing is going to do it for us. And I'll put it this way, and you will understand somewhat if you don't ask a question. I'll repeat the warning. Don't twist this now. And don't think you understand it, because you don't. And this warning is very important. You're going to have to become a far greater sinner than you now are. Now, in your present state, you are a combination of saint and sinner. So you think. You think you're a good person and a bad person, right?
Right.
Yeah, not bad. Or I get mad once in a while, All right. You're going to have to become a complete sinner. That is, you're going to have to go so deep into your sin, which is shocking. Your moral standards are going to be shattered. But you have to keep going deeper, 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 deeper into your own sin, to the point where the suffering, the shame gets so horrible that something cracks. And what cracks, finally, if you can begin to comprehend this, what finally cracks and begins to dissolve is your belief in yourself being a horrible sinner. Now, worked for 10 years. You have to go through the whole pit of sin in order to go beyond it, so that you're neither a sinner nor a saint. Boy, and I'll tell you what will happen to you among other things. I'll tell you one of the devouring demons that will attack you. You'll recognize it if you go this far, and it's already operating in a small way. It's the devouring demon of accusation. And if you listen to it, it will keep you a moral person. It will keep you a Christian, or a Sufi, or a Zen Buddhist. Therefore, it will keep you an actual sinner. Because if you're a saint, you're also a sinner. What you have to do is defy the accusations that say you're a horrible person, and don't listen to them, because if you listen to them, you'll believe them and get death out of believing that you're a horrible sinner. If you go far enough into your sin, if you go far enough into it, you'll begin to understand its nature and put an end to it. This is the basis of, I'm pointing at you so you listen, because I know you know this, Leland. This is the basis of that saying, if a fool persists in his folly, he will become wise. The reason a fool doesn't become wise is because he doesn't become foolish enough. He keeps remnants of wisdom with him. Quote mark wisdom. Of intelligence with him. If any of us here in this room will have the courage to get to the point where we're complete fools, where we know nothing at all, where we're going, we don't know what we're doing here on earth. If we would go deeply into this pit, which you can call sin, foolishness, stupidity, confusion, and stay there, then the role of mechanical thought and feeling will exhaust itself briefly. And at that first brief exhaustion of the mechanical self, at the moment of its exhaustion, because it is quiet for 1/10 of 1 second, into that very brief silence comes something from way up here and comes down, and you will sit there and know it. This is the beginning of authentically being born again. The slowing down of the mechanical self leaves a 1/10 of a second for something to enter. Okay, you're on.
What is sorrow, and how do you view a suffering situation?
Sorrow, what's it all about? All suffering, all sorrow, basically is caused by being separated from who you actually are in reality. All sorrow, the sorrow is the prodigal son, because he's separated from where he really should be. Now, it's a very general description, but you start with that, and you'll see that any opposite you have to sorrow, which you may now call joy, is simply a temporary absence of the sorrow because you've been distracted from it. You get elected, you're just as sorrowful as you were before. You just don't know it because a false feeling of life has taken you over. Sorrow will be absent when I am absent.
She also asked Vernon, I think, how should one view a situation of suffering or sorrow?
View it?
Yes.
Well, simply something to get rid of.
I think she means in someone else, or a situation in the world where someone is suffering or in sorrow.
Well, first of all, look, okay, fine. You look out in the world and you see a suffering world. If you suffer as a result of seeing a suffering world, there's something wrong with you. Because you say, I should do or could do something about that suffering. Who's going to do something about it? You see how this important is to find out about states? A state in you wants to relieve the hungry people in China. I'll tell you, you're going to have to go a long ways to not make yourself suffer over the hungry people in China or wherever it is these days. I don't know, it changes so fast. Why do you identify with their suffering? Why do you increase their suffering by suffering yourself over it? You have no business letting the pain of the world pain you. If you do, you have contributed to it. You are part of it. If all of a sudden every human being on earth understood what I just said, there would be no more suffering. And there'd be no more hunger. Production would go into bread, not into machine guns. Find out sometime who's feeling sorry for this vicious, cruel, agonizing world. Are you afraid that you might someday become part of it? Where are you entering into that view of the suffering world? People who try to help suffering people are destroying those suffering people. Do you understand that at all? Zena, you look quizzical.
No, I'm trying to let it sink in.
No, okay. Did I see a hand somewhere? Leland.
What is the real meaning then, Vernon, of the term compassion connected with what you've just been saying?
Compassion is pure understanding of life as it is. which means you understand yourself as you are and no longer call yourself any state at all.
Does that mean also, Vernon, an understanding that there's nothing to be done?
That's correct. Why this frantic desire to help the world? Marvelous way to escape seeing what a devil you are. Therefore, a devil is trying to save the world. Has the United Nations stopped any wars? How many wars have we had since it was formed? How many revolutions? How many millions of people thrown into prison and starved since the United Nations was formed? Devils are trying to save devils, and they destroy each other. Devils dress in suits and ties, and sometimes in rags, depending on what is proper for the occasion. Yes, Tom.
Vernon, how rare is a class like this in the world?
Extremely rare. I have no statistics. I don't know what's happening in Bordeaux, France. I don't even know what's happening in Henderson. Yes, please. Raise your hand high. I can see it, fortunately. Go ahead, please.
If ultimately there's nothing to be done, what's to be done?
Work on yourself. All right, I'll give you this gentleman, and all of you start. Just a repetition, but watch how you can't do the simplest of thing. Every one of you in this room, except those of you who live 1,000 miles away, of course, you're all to come to every single class, and there's a good reason for it. You have to work or your vacation or whatever, a good reason for it. All right, let's see, how many we got? I don't know, 40 people maybe. So, every one of you are going to come to every class from now on, right? Not right. Because you can't hear what I just said, what I said at the beginning. It's essential for your soul's salvation. You want to get religious about it? We'll get religious. It's essential for your soul's salvation, for you not to lose another second. Look at all you've lost already. Look at what you've lost. Don't you let anything keep you away from coming here. Move up here if you have to, after getting my permission. Because there are certain rules if you move here from a distance. I don't want liars moving up here and trying to use the class for their own sick benefits, which can't be done anyway, by the way. Zena?
Does goodness with a capital G ever use the devil? Or can it... Do you know the question, what I'm trying to say? Does it...
All right, I'll answer your question in a different way, Zena. Light has no connection whatever with darkness. None. It doesn't talk to it. It doesn't bargain with it. It doesn't fight with it. The light has no connection whatever with darkness. Someday you'll see this so deep, and when you do, you'll know how to behave toward everyone you know perfectly. You'll be able to behave perfectly with them. Because your light has nothing to do with their darkness. See, if you have darkness, we'll take Zena for example. If you have darkness in you, Zena, that darkness will want something to do with the darkness in someone else, because there's trading or feeling superior or feeling inferior, whatever. That darkness will want something to do with other darknesses in other people. Even just blabbing with each other, which is a waste of time. As you begin to grow and your darkness disappears to be replaced by light, then that darkness doesn't request anything from the darkness out there, and that darkness, no longer being asked and no longer having a trading value, goes away from you too. This is why your friends depart. Or if they're in your life because they're relatives or something like that, they depart psychologically, if not physically. See?
Vernon, you said earlier in the meeting, why do you come in with your phony smiles? And then later you said, with your sad faces and eyes. We can't do anything else but the way we could. Because anything we try to do is phony, right?
I'm trying to snap you out of your spell. You don't even know you're in a spell. How gently you were treated here. Because that's all you can take. We have 10 minutes or so. Yes, Larry.
I do not feel I would ever in life have known that I was talking in my sleep here one day until you asked me, do you know you were talking in your sleep? I don't think I would have ever known it until you pointed out, and it was close enough to me that I could see it.
All right, fine. Small jolts are essential. And there have been quite a few jolts in this room since the beginning of the meeting, correct? Huh? Some outward, as Phyllis case, some inward. Yeah. All this is health. All this is health. And we say this is what we want. Let's come and get more of it. So that you can begin to jolt yourself during the day. Yes, Chuck.
What's the best way to go against our pretense?
See it? You can't fight any, I'm using the word fight deliberately, of course. You can't fight anything unless you're conscious that you're being taken over by it, that it's got you. Try to find some, and we all have to work on this, try to find a little fault. What's a little one? Try to think. Let's get something. What would be a little fault? I'll try to think of an example. All right, interrupting people when they're talking. Okay, a little one, not a big one. Give us some more little faults, please. Little tiny ones. Procrastination. You should do the dishes, but you're terrified by a sink full of dishes.
Excuses.
You find some little fault and be aware of it, then go against it. You have the great courage when you look at that sink full of dishes. Take a deep breath and be a brave soldier and take that soap shaker and shake it in there and turn on the hot water and you get the dishes done. Pretty soon, I don't think you're going to agree with me, pretty soon doing dishes will be just as much fun as watching television. Because you are living at that moment. You are living at that moment. Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say excuses is another fault. Excuses. Excuses.
Making excuses. Yeah. Defending ourselves. Linda, please.
If someone's continually coming to you for sympathy and you give it to them, then you are contributing to their insanity and the world's insanity.
Did you say?
What you're saying this evening?
Repeat that, please.
Well, someone comes to you for sympathy.
Yes.
And you give it to them, you're contributing to their insanity and the world's insanity.
Exactly.
The only thing you owe them is not to.
give them your understanding, which you must have, then you can talk to them properly, can you not? For example, you say, look, you have this problem. Of course, you're not going to be your friends anymore, you know. But you say, can you begin to connect the problem you have with your own lack of responsibility or something like that? You know, if they want a word of advice, which they probably don't. But I think you're getting at just telling them how badly they've been treated by life. Yes.
And if you've done this, if you've told them the truth, and that's nothing, and you just stop it.
You're destroying them, and you're also destroying yourself, because you want them to like you, don't you? When you tell them, that brute of a husband of yours, I know how badly he treats you. You're falling right into their trap. Pretty soon they won't come around anymore, because they'll be told that it's their fault for being in the trouble they're in. Our wrong state is the fault. That wrong state dragged me there, dragged you there. Can I see how I was dragged there? You know, in simple things. You drag yourself down to the bar. You drag yourself to that radical political group, wherever it is, and you get in a fist fight, or you get this or that. What dragged you to that stupid place in the first place? A wrong state. You thought it was going to reward you. And what it did was give you a stab, which you call a reward. People sometimes choose, let me rephrase it, sickies choose other sickies consciously, unconsciously, in order to have a fight. They know sooner or later that woman, she meets that man meets the woman. They know sooner or later they're going to have a fight. You know, a little fun first of all, you know, okay. Sooner or later. And it must happen. It absolutely must happen. Because a wolf must behave like a wolf, not like a lamb. Have you ever noticed yourself when you're meeting another person, either, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, or anybody, notice how your behavior is so sweet at the start, and then gradually as the benefits disappear or whatever, your real old mean nature finally comes out?
That's the moonlight and roses.
Yeah, the moonlight and roses disappear fast, don't they?
Yeah.
Do I hear a bitter soul in the yeah, Jay.
It would be nice if we could learn that lesson when we're young, but we,
You're pretty young yet, Jay. You've got a chance. Larry.
It would be nice if we can learn that lesson when we're old.
Right. Do you know, I get good news for you, and this will end. Now, you have to see this. You can't think about it. You have to see it. Here, where you think, you have to learn to see, not think. When you get this, you'll always be in now. And while the physical body may be 40, 60, 80, you will be in now. Therefore, you will be in eternity. Therefore, all the problems, difficulties of being young, middle-aged, or old have no meaning to you. Because you are living right now, and not only that, but you understand that while you are yet in the physical body, that is also a now period, and so you live life fully now. Don't you know people who are practically gone at 40, They haven't discovered this secret. You can stay young all your life, and this isn't just a phrase to make you feel good. I'm telling you, you can be internally youthful, fresh, all your life, even when you're 90 years old. And there are one or two examples of this in True Teachers, by the way. All right, good night.